Are you like me? Do you ever wonder why your Parkinson's symptoms are smooth one day and totally unpredictable the next? Why your meds last forever on Tuesday but barely do anything on Wednesday? Because for years, that was me too. I tried everything to figure it out fancy apps, complicated spreadsheets, journals I'd abandoned by day four. Nothing helped me to understand why my days were so different. And I know a lot of you feel the same. You're trying to make sense of this body that keeps changing the rules. And then one day, I found the simplest tracking system ever. No apps, no tech, no stress. And I've used it every day for 8 years. And today, I'm going to show you how to actually read your tracking so you finally understand your on times, your off times, and the patterns that you didn't even know were shaping your day.
Welcome to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. Real talk, real life, real community with Bryce Perry. Let's begin.
Well, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Bryce, and I've been living with Parkinson's now for over 15 years. And around here, we break everything down into real talk. No jargon, no lectures, no guilt, just the truth about living with Parkinson's and how to actually make your life easier. And hey, if that sounds like something you need, then hit subscribe. I'd really love to have you stick around. And stick around with me till the very end because the price system at the end of this episode, I'm telling you, this one hits home. And there might be a little bit of a twist in there that might just be a little bit too true. All right, let's get into this. And remember, this is episode 2 of our 3-part tracking series. Episode 1 was all about what to write down in the very beginning, and today is about how to understand it. And then in episode 3, coming up next, that's the one where we're going to take all of this tracking data straight into your neurologist's office and actually get results. I'm going to give you the exact script that I use when I talk to my doctor. But first, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me how tracking went yesterday, right? Anything surprising, anything confusing. I love reading your stuff and I read every single comment. All right, well, let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about calculating your on time, okay? And on time is that stretch of time where your medications are doing what they're supposed to do, right? You took your pill, you waited, you started to feel the stiffness ease or whatever your symptoms are. The tremors softened, your movement got easier, and that was the start of your on time window. So let's walk through it like we're sitting at the kitchen table, okay? Somebody takes their meds at 8 a.m. They feel them kick in, let's say at 8:45. Symptoms start creeping back in around 11:30. Now, that's their on time, right? 8:45 to 11:30. Make sense? Easy, straightforward. It's real life turned into real information, right? And if you've already figured out your own morning on time, put morning in the comments. I want to cheer you along. Okay, so that was very simple. 8:45 to 11:30. That's your on time. So let's calculate our off time. Okay. Now it's just as simple, but nobody ever explains it like this. Your off time is the stretch after your symptoms return until your next dose kicks in. So, using the same example, the same person feels they felt their symptoms return at 11:30. Okay? The next dose then kicks in at 12:40. So that's about 70 minutes of off time. Now, this is where tracking becomes so powerful because once you can see both your on times and your off times, your whole day starts to make a lot more sense. Now, if you've noticed any off times creeping in during the afternoon, hit that like button so I know that this is starting to hit home, okay? Let's just hammer that like button and see everybody's the same in these ways, okay? So, why your meds behave this way? Well, let's talk about that. Why does it happen? And you know me, we're going to do this in plain English. I don't want to get all sciencey on you, but inside your body, levodopa burns fast, right? Half of it is gone about 90 minutes after you take it. And that's called the half life, which basically means that your body is a levodopa furnace, right? It burns it, uses it, and then it moves on. So for most people, meds last somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. And here's the fun part. Life jump kicks your schedule every single day. Sleep, stress, protein, timing, right? Walking more than usual, walking less than usual, being anxious, being excited, weather, humidity, family arguments, right? The car alarm goes off at 6 a.m. The cat's scratching at the window. You know what I mean, right? All of it can change your medication timing. Unbelievable. And tracking lets you see which of those things are messing with your day. Now, how about this? If life messes with your meds this week, drop a yep in the comments. Let's get a little honesty going down there. Yep. Tell you what, life just gets in the way. Okay, so now let's look at these patterns because this is the important part. You're going to start seeing patterns if you start tracking this the way I'm telling you to do it. And as I go through these, I wanted you to check in with yourself, okay? If one sounds like your life, say so in the comments because trust me, someone else is going to say the same or is thinking the same. But here's an example, pattern number one. This is a classic, okay? This is what I call the breakfast effect, okay? Someone takes their meds at, let's say, 8 a.m. Most days, they kick in at 8:45. Beautiful, predictable, right? You know it. You know when to start feeling it. But on the days they skip breakfast, nothing happened until 9:20. And they're standing there thinking, are my meds broken today? No, it's just that your stomach and your digestion were saying, like, hey, you changed the plan. So I changed the plan, the timing. Now, can that happen? Absolutely, it happens. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to somebody. Put it in the comments. And if breakfast, if you all of a sudden are starting to realize when you look at this, if your meds are affected differently when you around breakfast time, just like breakfast in the comments. You'll be shocked by how many people say yes or like it because breakfast can mess with your levodopa. Okay. Now, once you notice that, you start discovering other things. Okay. Like this, here's another example. And this one hits a lot of people. Okay. I call it the 3 p.m. crash. Okay. Right around 3 p.m. For a lot of people, things drop. The fog, the heaviness, the why do my legs weigh 80 pounds feeling. Most people assume that their meds are just wearing off early. But when you start to track it for a few days, you see it's usually sleep. Parkinson's sleep is rough, right? It's like pretending to rest while your brain is hosting a rave. It's crazy. So, in that situation, it's not the meds failing, it's a tired brain dragging everything down. And by 3 o'clock, your brain's like, I am so tired because we didn't sleep last night that I'm going to just stop working. So, there, if you're a 3 p.m. crasher, hit that like button so I don't feel alone. And as another example, okay, and this one shows up in tracking all the time. And I call this one the weekend miracle. Okay, so here's a fun one. Someone's meds last 2.5 hours on Monday to Friday. Okay, so they take their meds and when they start, they're all kicking in till when they start kicking out, like 2.5 hours. Okay, Monday to Friday. But suddenly on Saturday, boom, they're lasting 3.5 hours. And they're thinking, did I magically get cured for the weekend? Well, no, it's stress relief. Your nervous system relaxes and your meds go further. Weekend dopamine is undefeated. Did you know that? So that stress relief, it just things loosen up and they just can get there. And so how about, if your weekends feel easier for you, tell me in the comments. Tell everybody in the comments. Yeah, weekends, I notice that. I can see that. But you don't start really seeing this until you start writing it down and tracking it. That's the important part. 'Cause you can start circling things like, hey, it happened again. Hey, it happened again. And hey, it happened again. And you start putting the pieces together of this puzzle. Okay. And that actually leads me to today's solo spotlight. For the people doing this entirely on their own, no care partner, no second set of eyes, just you, learning your symptoms and taking control of your day. And listen, you're stronger than you think. So here's a tip that's going to make tracking easier for you. Use your phone to mark the moment that your symptoms change. A quick voice memo, a time stamp, right? Even a simple note button. Because the hardest part of tracking alone is remembering exactly when the shift happened. And that one habit keeps your data honest, right? And it takes all the pressure off your memory. True story. So, and if you're tracking solo, give me a solo in the comments just so I can cheer you on because I love cheering you on. Now, let's shift over to something really important and something that everybody's starting to love around here. It's Carmen's Care Partner Corner. And this is written in her words, and I'm going to read it exactly the way she wrote it. And here's what she had to say to this. When Bryce started tracking his symptoms, it didn't just help him, it helped me understand him. Before tracking, I only saw the outside. I saw the moments he slowed down or looked uncomfortable, but I didn't always understand why. Once he started writing down his on times and his off times and the patterns in between, it gave me what I call a map to his day. And suddenly I could see which moments were part of the disease, not personal or emotional. Tracking doesn't just change the experience for the person with Parkinson's, it changes it for the people who love them too. Thank you, Carmen. So let's wrap this up a little bit here. You know now how to find your on time, and you know how to find your off time. And if you're still struggling or you're still kind of confused, go back and rewatch that first part again. Just calculate your on time and your off time. Okay, that's really, really important. And you know now how to see why your meds work the way they do. Okay. And you're starting to spot the patterns that shape your day. You start seeing things that start to all of a sudden get the aha moments. And what I'd love to know the number one thing that you learned from tracking this week. Okay, so if you've learned something already, let me know in the comments. Just say, hey, I saw something that was similar from this day and this day. And I'm telling you, the more you do this, the easier it's going to get and the more consistent you're going to be. And I would love you to tell me in the comments if you were able today, tomorrow, or yesterday, calculate how much on time and off time you had, because that would be cool. So in the comments, just be like, whatever, I'm just throwing numbers out there, 5 on time hours and 6 off time hours, whatever it is. It'd be interesting to see, what you're dealing with and what other people are dealing with and how some are so much different than ours. Because this is a community, it's not just about me just spewing stuff. We need to make a conversation about this. We need to talk about this and we need to help each other through this. And in the comments, if you don't understand, if you're struggling to understand it, please ask. And you know what? If you understand it and you see a comment, jump in there, help them. It's not just about Bryce. Okay. You know what is just about Bryce, though? The Bryceism of the episode. And here it is. With Parkinson's, tracking is like turning on subtitles for your body. It shows you what's happening even when the plot makes no sense. And the twist? Some days my subtitles pop up and just say, nope. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, if this helped you, hit that like button. And if it really helps the channel when you do that, so share this with somebody who needs it, and make sure that that you're subscribed so you don't miss episode 3, because I'm going to give you my exact script that I use with my neurologist, and I finally started getting results, right? And I took it right out of my tracking. There you go. So until next time, I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for being a part of my life. And I'm happy that you're letting me into yours. And until next time, keep showing up. You keep being real. You keep tracking. And you keep doing life today. And I'll see you in the 3rd episode.
Parkinson's may be part of your life, but it doesn't get to define it. Thanks for listening to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. If this episode moved you, helped you, or reminded you you're not alone, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Want to go deeper? The Inner Circle is waiting. Monthly Zoom calls, 24/7 community, and a direct line to Bryce. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up and keep doing life today.